Okay. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the iBUG Mac Training course for Tuesday, October 5th, 2021. We're on Lesson 4, and I am your instructor, Chanel Allen. As always, be sure to check out all the other great stuff iBUG has to offer. Visit our website, ibugtoday.org, our Facebook, facebook.com/groups/ibugtoday, Twitter and Instagram at iBug Today. And in terms of things coming up this week, we have the Mac Buzz tomorrow evening from 5 to 7 p.m. Central, facilitated by our TA, Herbie Allen. On Friday, we have iBug Night at the Virtual Movies, and none of us can remember what the movie was, but I'm sure it's great. People love to come. That begins at 8 o'clock with the pre-movie social at 7:30. Then on Sunday, the whatever date in October, we have the iBug Cafe, and that is from 4 to 6 p.m. That will be led by Sri Roy, and the topic is iOS widgets, the app library, and battery life. And so come join us for that. That is sure to be an informative presentation this Thursday on Zoom. And now, let's go over a few of the focus questions. So, oh, all right, I've got to VO right to the got it button. And so let's go through the focus questions. I have my orbit here and the questions all set up. So how do you set the voiceover modifier? We'll just start with an easy question. This is a review of our voiceover utility and system preferences lesson. And anybody can answer, just say your name and wait to be acknowledged and then go ahead and answer. So let's see, did I not fix the mute? Yep, no, okay, people can unmute, so. All right, so basically with that, you just go into General in the VoiceOver utility, and then it says keys to use as the VoiceOver modifier. So pretty simple. Which option must you enable to use VoiceOver commanders for obtaining certain information such as the time or number of unread mail messages?
This is Michelle.
Yeah, hi, Michelle.
The script.
Yes, excellent. Allow VoiceOver to be controlled with Apple Script. Very good. Okay. Anybody who wants to tell me what is VoiceOver verbosity?
Elvia.
Yes, Elvia.
Hi, Chanel, by the way.
And hello.
It's where you can control how much you want VoiceOver to give you in feedback, including the hints and things like that.
Excellent. Perfect. All right. Where do you change how VoiceOver provides feedback about system dialogues? Okay, that is in the Announcements tab of Verbosity. So let's see, what are some options to adjust in the speech category?
Elvia.
Okay, go ahead, Elvia.
I'm hoping I'm right on this one. Some of the things you could change would be like the rate, punctuation.
Yeah, so it's like the rate and the pitch and the volume.
The pitch and the volume and the
then there was
punctuation.
another one, and the voice. And
On the voice. Yes.
I had a question here about, how to explain how to download additional voices. And, I'm not sure if we covered that, but basically, you go into speech, you find the language, and then you go into the menu and you go to customize, and then you can check or uncheck the boxes for all the different voices that you want. Okay. Let me find some other questions here. Where can you go to create your own voiceover keyboard commands or trackpad gestures? And Cliff uses this one a lot. Oh, go ahead. Was that Judy?
This is Judy.
Yeah, go
Yes.
ahead, Judy.
Okay, Cliff taught me well. So you go to general and then commands, and then you get a choice of 4, like trackpad commander, numpad commander, and one of them is keyboard. So you
Yep.
go to that, and then you go to add, and then you get this choice of, you put your letter in that you think you want the letter to be, and then you get a choice of all the different things that you can pick. And that's how you
That's
get it.
awesome. We didn't even, I just kind of asked you where you go. So you gave the process. Woohoo. A+.
Okay.
No, that's
Okay.
good. Yeah, you go to the voiceover utility and then there's a commanders category. It's right in that table. And so, yep, you have things for your keyboard, your trackpad, your numpad. So, yeah, very good. Let's see. So what is a popular, oh dear, can't read my own writing tonight. What is a pop-up button and how do you activate it?
Elvia,
Yes, Elvia?
it's like a combo box type of thing where you can pick from several locations, several selections, sorry. So it's like a prompt, I guess you could say. And when you
Yes.
activate it by pressing the VO space bar, and then you can
Excellent.
go VO down arrow or down arrow, depending if it lets you.
Yeah, very good. Yay. All right. So when opening system preferences, what are 2 ways of navigating past the toolbar to preference panes or categories? We were talking about this a little bit earlier.
Michelle,
Yeah, Michelle.
is one of them VOJ?
Yes. And I think Iberi was trying to speak.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, and then the Command L.
Yeah, that actually goes, that shows the preference panes, that goes, but what you would do is you would VOJ, like Michelle said, or you can use tab to move past the toolbar and into the categories.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, no, very good. So how can you talk to Siri or give her commands?
Elvia?
Yes, Elvia?
Okay, I would love for somebody to answer that question because I try to go into it when I went to the system preferences under general, under Siri, and I just typed in SIR when the Siri went in there, and then just VO to the right, and it gives you the option in there to enable Siri, and then
Right.
you can create a shortcut in there. And there is no FN space, which is the one I wanted when I was hearing your tutorial. It did
Oh,
not give me the option of FN space at all, but it did give me the option to custom do it. So I went in there and I did the FN space, but it just gave me the thunk, thunk. So I ended up doing the command, I think it was a control key twice because I didn't know
okay.
what else to do, but it didn't give me that FN space. Now that's true for that. And it's also true for the dictation.
I
That's
think
weird.
mine, I was able to do mine with FN space, I'm pretty sure.
This is Cliff.
Yeah, Cliff.
Elvia, what model Mac do you have?
I have this is Elvia. I have the M1 chip, the Big Sur.
Okay, so that shouldn't even be an issue. Sorry, Chanel, but the main thing is though, I think if there's a screen, Chanel, as set up that tells you to enable it, I don't know how to do it after that because I'm not a Siri fan on the Mac anyway. But you should have been able to enable it in there. And there is an FN key on the M1, isn't there?
There
Yeah,
should
the
be.
bottom left. Yeah, the bottom left
Yeah.
corner should be the FN key.
Another thing you can always do is if Siri is in your menu bar or dock, you can just go to it that way. It's a little bit more long-winded, but you could and then talk to her that way. But yeah,
I'm
maybe
sorry,
try.
Chanel. Elvia, can you say that again?
Yeah, so if you go into your menu extras with VOMM and you have Siri showing there, which I think because I think there's an option that says show Siri in menu bar. And so that's the menu extra. So if you have her there, then you could just VO space when you get to Siri and it would make that, sound
Yes.
like she was listening to you. And
Yeah, this is
so,
Elvie again. Yes,
and
that's
then
what I had to do. That was that was the only way I can get her to talk.
you
Go
couldn't
into the
do like,
menu extras.
you couldn't do control space, trying that to see if that would work.
Yeah, I'm gonna give these both a try again for both the dictation and the Siri. They didn't work for the FN
Okay.
commands at all, so I'm gonna have to try something else when I get to that again. I'll let you guys know. But I did try it when I finished doing that part, and it didn't even work with the double command. I mean the controller. I had to end up going to the menu extra. So I don't know what I'm doing wrong.
All right. So let's see. For what tasks could Siri be useful? We kind of talked about this a little bit at the end of the lesson.
Elvia?
Oh, Michelle? Or well,
Go
I
ahead.
heard, but yeah. Go ahead, Michelle.
Things like what's the time, what's the weather, what's the temperature. I think you might be able to use it to read your messages.
Right. And what were you going to say, Elvia?
Elvia here. Play music, a certain song, open up apps.
Yep.
Open up Safari, things like that.
All right. Excellent. Yeah. If I do, I'm like Cliff. I'm not a big Siri fan, but we do cover it here just in case. And yeah, one thing that she can do pretty well is open apps. So yeah, it's another way, Daryl, if you're having trouble getting to the voiceover utility. So anyway, with all of that being said, let's get to our Finder lesson. And I am going to share my audio here. Just a minute. And okay. Okay.
System dial. Stop share.
There we go. So the first thing, so basically, we've already briefly talked about this, but let's just go over it again. I'm going to go to my desktop with VO Shift D.
Desktop.
We've talked about that too, but the Finder. What is the Finder? It is the Mac's file management system. It's like Windows Explorer if you're using that system. It is like the Files app. It's basically a way that files are maintained, organized, stored, all that good stuff. And the Finder is the first app that we are going to be exploring in this course. We also have Safari, TextEdit, and Mail. But one of the first things you want to do when you go into an app for the first time is explore it. And the way to explore it is to kind of look at the layout and the menu bar. To do this, I'm going to open a new Finder window. Right now we're on the desktop, and so we have the things that I talked about earlier, the menu bar at the top, the desktop in the middle, the dock at the bottom. We are now going to open a new Finder window with Command N. And I'm going to be, okay, so another thing, I'm going to be mentioning so much stuff tonight that it's probably going to be extremely confusing. And I know I was confused. It took me, I'd say, like 3 years to really kind of get a grasp on the Finder. Now, granted, if I'd applied myself more diligently to learning my Mac instead of just kind of here and there, piecemeal, I might have gotten it quicker. But I'm going to try to make it as painless as possible. But basically, we're going to open a new Finder window, and that is one of 2 universal Mac commands I'm going to mention in this lesson tonight. Command N for new. Whether you're in Finder, it's a new Finder window. In TextEdit, Pages, Word, whatever, it's a new doc. In Notes, it's a new document or note. It's a new mail message, new calendar event. So you're going to be using Command N a lot. The other one you're going to be using a lot is Command comma, and we'll go over that in a little bit, but that opens an app's preferences. Okay, so Command N is going to open a new Finder window.
New Finder window. Dropbox window. Column view browser.
Okay, so we heard a few things. New Finder window, Dropbox, column view, browser. My Finder is set to open with Dropbox. And another way you could get to a new Finder window, which Herbie does all the time, is go to Finder in the dock. And then if you press enter on it, it will open a new Finder window there. But right now we're not so much concerned about which folder is open, just the fact that we have one open, and we will take a general look at what is in the layout. So to get to the very top, we're going to do VO Command Home, or if you're using the inbuilt keyboard, it's VO Command FN left arrow. Before we've done VO Command Home or VO Command FN, before we've just done VO Home, and that will take us to what's called the beginning, or the first item that we'd really want to interact with. But VO Command Home goes to the very top, and that'll take us to
Close button.
the close button. I think I mentioned that's kind of a way, or Herbie did, of closing system preferences when it wants to be difficult, is going up to that close button. That's at the very top left. And I'm sure you also still have your menu bar here, although we don't encounter it with VoiceOver. If I VO right,
Minimize button. Full screen button.
so you're always going
Actions
to have
available.
in a window the close, minimize, and full screen buttons.
Dropbox.
And now we're given the title of the folder that's open, or the title of this window.
Toolbar.
And then we have the toolbar. I will interact in here, but everything in the toolbar we can access with the keyboard without necessarily even needing to go into here. But just so you get an idea, we will interact.
In toolbar. 7 items /forward group. As columns. Column view pop-up button.
You can set the view, which we can also do in the view menu or with keyboard commands.
Group menu button. Share button dimmed. Edit tags button dimmed. Action menu button. Search button. Search button. Search button.
And search is kind of sounding off to my right. And so that's the end of the toolbar. Now, tags are basically a way of labeling files and even folders, I suppose, if you want to group several things together. And I'll talk more about tags in a little bit, but we're done with the toolbar. So I'm going to press VO Shift
Out of
up arrow,
toolbar.
and we'll continue on.
Tab bar. 1 tab. Tab group.
Okay, I have things open in my Finder in tabs, and basically for us, tabs, the way we navigate in tabs versus windows is either Control Tab to move from tab to tab, or Command Accent to move from window to window. And I'll talk about that more in a bit, but we're just kind of getting an overview. So you have all those, 3 buttons at the top, and then you have the toolbar, and that's pretty standard in any app, followed by the tab bar.
Sidebar table.
Then you have
Dropbox.
this infamous sidebar. Okay, in the Finder, there are actually 2 areas where interaction is required. One is the sidebar, and I never use the sidebar except in other apps where I'm actually having to save things. But I'm just going to show you what's here. So if I interact with VO Shift down arrow,
In sidebar table. Dropbox. Selected.
we
Dropbox.
have the Dropbox. Now I need to use VO up and down.
Favorites. Expanded 11 items enclosed level
So
1.
I just pressed VO up. So here's some of the things that are in the favorites.
Dropbox. Download. Reasons. Clock image.
Okay, so
Actions
let's
available.
say I wanted to go to something.
Chanel. Chanel. Move image.
Let me
Chanel.
find
Setup
something.
files.
Okay.
Mac Training. Chanel. Home image.
All right, so let's say I want to go to my home folder. I've gotten there, and so I found it in the sidebar. And so then if I uninteract with VO Shift
Out
up
of
arrow,
sidebar table.
we will VO right.
Vertical splitter.
You're always going to have a vertical splitter separating a sidebar from other areas, from other lists and content.
Column view. Browser.
And then you have the browser. And if I do VO F2, that gives us the current window title.
Chanel. Window. 1 window.
It says Chanel before it said Dropbox. If I VO Command Home,
Close button.
and then
Minimize. Full screen. Chanel.
it's also saying Chanel. So basically what I'm trying to demonstrate is that what you go to in the sidebar, will be reflected elsewhere. Now, I don't use the sidebar. You don't need to use the sidebar to navigate in the Finder. But many people prefer to do that. It's kind of like in Windows Explorer, whatever, using the tree view. But the only time you'd really need to use your sidebar is if you are connecting an iOS device to your Mac and you need to back it up or transfer content. Or you could totally avoid the sidebar if you use Cliff's awesome program, Walter Pro, whatever, to copy things to your phone. But I guess you'd still need to use the sidebar to back it up. So anyway, now if we go to the very bottom of the window or last item with VO Command N, VO Command End or VOFN Command right arrow.
Macintosh HD.
Okay.
Actions available.
So what it did is it took us to
Out of path list.
okay. We had a path bar showing. So normally what you'll have, I'm going to hide that,
path bar.
but normally
Vertical
you will
splitter.
have
Column view. Browser.
the column view or list view, whatever it is.
Vertical splitter.
I'm moving left.
Sidebar table.
The sidebar.
Shena tab bar. One tab.
And then your tab. So basically, what you have will be kind of reflected by what you decide to show or hide in the view menu. But that's just a general overview of how the Finder is laid out. And so now let's look at a few things in the menu bar. To do that, we'll do VOM.
Menu bar. Apple.
And then right arrow to Finder.
Quick nav on.
No.
Quick nav off.
Okay.
Finder.
There we go. Down arrow.
Finder. Menu. About Finder.
That's pretty standard. You'll always see about.
Preferences ellipsis command, comma.
Preferences. We're going to get to that in a minute. But as I said earlier, no matter what app you're in, command comma will bring up that app's preferences pretty much 99% of the time. I think they're, trying to remember if I've seen the apps that don't use the default preferences. But anyway.
Empty trash ellipsis command shift delete.
Okay, empty trash. So if you don't remember that it is command shift delete to empty the trash, you could come into your Finder menu and look for that.
Services submenu. Hide Finder command H.
You can hide the Finder.
Hide others command option
or hide
H.
others.
About Finder.
That's not really relevant because we can just do command tab to move between apps. So anyway, now if I right arrow.
File menu.
Here are some things in the file menu. Down arrow.
New Finder window command N.
There we go. I've talked about new Finder window.
New folder command shift N. New smart folder.
A smart folder, basically it would create a folder based on certain criteria that you might specify.
New tab command T. Open command O. Close window command W. Get info command I. Quick look Chanel command Y. Find command F.
So quick look is really useful if you have attachments, mail attachments, and you want to look at those files before actually opening them, see what they contain.
New Finder window command N.
All right, and then
Edit menu.
Edit is pretty standard.
Undo move of lesson 4 Finder RTF paste item command V.
So the last thing I moved was a focus question file called lesson 4.
Select all command A. Show clipboard. Emoji and symbols command control space.
All right, some of these things aren't particularly relevant to
Undo move
us,
of lesson 4 Finder
but
RTF command
now if
Z.
if we right arrow.
View menu. As icons command 1.
Here we can actually specify what the view
As
is.
list command 2. Check mark as columns command 3.
For us, list and column views are going to be the best views to use.
As gallery command 4. Use groups command control 0. Sort by submenu.
So if we go into sort by, and we can do that with the right arrow.
Sort by submenu check mark. Name command control option 1. Kind command control option 2.
If you were to use these keyboard commands, notice it says name command control option 1, kind command control option 2. Well, control and option are used as our VO keys. So sometimes it's necessary to do the voiceover pass-through gesture, which is VO tab, and then that makes it so the next thing you press will be interpreted as a non-VO command. So anyway, those are things for sorting.
As icons command 1.
And we're back
As
here in
list
the
check
view.
mark. As column. As gallery. Use group. Sort by. Clean up. Dimmed. Hide sidebar command option S.
So we could choose to hide the sidebar. I never really use it, so I might do that.
Show preview command shift P. Hide toolbar command option T.
Or hide the toolbar. I definitely don't use that.
Show all tabs command shift \. Hide tab bar command shift T. Show path bar command option P. Show status bar command / Customize toolbar ellipse. Show view options command J.
And we'll get into show view options in just a little
Enter
bit.
full screen command control F. As icons command 1.
Okay, and then we're back at the beginning of the menu. If I right arrow,
Go menu.
we have the infamous Go menu, which I talked to you about, I think, or demonstrated in the first lesson.
Back command left bracket.
And we've encountered back. We've used the back command in system preferences, or command L, as Cliff pointed out, was show all. But in Finder, we would do just the back command, or depends on which view is set for your the window or the folder that you're in.
Enclosing folder command up arrow. Recents command shift F. Documents command shift O.
So these are the list of all the different or some common folders on your Mac.
Desktop command shift D. Downloads command option L. Home command shift H.
It can be really helpful to learn these. Maybe write some down that you think you're going to use, and kind of what I do, or if I really need to memorize a keyword command or something, I'll write it down over and over and over again until it sticks. Or I just, as you use these with time, then they just kind of become cemented.
Library command shift L. Computer command shift C. AirDrop command shift R. Network command shift K.
So yeah, the ones I probably use the most are the documents, the downloads, the iCloud Drive, the desktop.
iCloud Drive command shift I.
Which, in addition to being a location on your Mac, the desktop is actually a folder as well.
Applications command shift A.
Oh yes, applications.
Utilities command shift U. Recent folders submenu.
And then you can go into recent folders.
Go to folder ellipsis command shift G.
If you know the name of the folder that you want to go to, you can type that in. And if you're not sure of the exact location, you can type / and then the name.
Connect to server ellipsis command K. Back command left bracket. Enclosing folder command up arrow.
Oops, all right, and we're back at the beginning.
Window menu.
Then we have window and help, which are pretty standard. So anyway, let's now go into Finder Preferences. I'm going to press Escape.
Tab bar.
And I'm going to do Command comma.
Preferences. Preferences window. Show all file name extensions. Checked. Checkbox.
Okay, so another question came up last week about where the cursor lands when you open an app or when you open preferences, whatever. In VoiceOver, you can either set the VoiceOver cursor to be on the keyboard focused item or the first item in the window. And I have mine set, and I think it's pretty much default, to be focused on the keyboard focused item. But if we want to get to the top, we'll do VO Home. And VO Home goes to rather the beginning, or the first item that you might actually want to do something with.
Toolbar.
If we did VO Command Home, that would take us all the way back up to close, which we don't want. So anyway, I'm going to now interact in this toolbar with VO Shift down arrow.
In toolbar. 4 items. Advanced button selected.
Okay, I was on Advanced. I'm going to VO Left.
Sidebar. Tags. General button.
And we'll select General with VO Space. And VO Shift up arrow.
Out of toolbar.
And VO Right.
Show these items on the desktop. Hard disks unchecked. Checkbox.
Okay, and so I do like to have these things on my desktop. Oh, okay, I did slow my speech down enough. Okay, hard disks are the drives that are in your Mac. So in my case, I have my Macintosh, well, it's called HD, even though I'm using a solid state drive, and then my boot camp. But I'll go ahead and check this box.
Checked. External disks unchecked.
External disks are those for like thumb drives, flash drives, whatever. I'll go ahead and check this.
Checked.
With VO Space I'm using.
CDs, DVDs, and iPods unchecked. Checkbox.
CDs, DVDs, and iPods. Notice it doesn't say iOS devices because The Mac does not treat an iOS device as a regular drive. Those you do have to go to in the sidebar.
Checked. Connected servers unchecked. Check Dropbox. New Finder Windows Show pop-up button.
New Finder window show. So if I do VO space
Menu check mark Dropbox.
and we can down arrow.
MacBook Pro.
MacBook Pro, that's another term for the computer. Yours might say MacBook Air, whatever. It's basically the place where all of the drives connected to your Mac are listed.
Bootcamp. Macintosh HD. Chanel. Desktop. Documents. iCloud Drive. Recents.
The default location is actually recents. So when you do Command N or Command T in the Finder, what will be shown or what will open is the list of your recent files and folders.
Other ellipsis.
Or what I did is I chose others so I could set mine to Dropbox. And so I am just going to press Escape because I don't want to make any changes here.
Column view. Browser.
And unfortunately, when I do that, it takes us all the way out of Preferences. I don't know. So I'm going to do Command comma
Preferences. Preferences. Window. Show all file name extensions. Checked. Checkbox.
again. Oh, okay.
Toolbar.
And it took us back to that advanced. Oops.
In
So
tool general
I'm
button.
going to go back to
Out
General.
of
I
toolbar.
think
Show
we were
hard disks.
pretty
CDs.
much done
Connect
here, though, but-
Dropbox. Open folders and tabs instead of new
Oh.
windows. Checked. Checkbox.
Open folders and tabs instead of new windows. So basically, as I said, for us, really the difference between tabs and windows is keyboard navigation. Do we want to use Control Tab to move between open tabs, or would we like to work with things in Windows where you use Command Accent? You can have several tabs open in one window. And Herbie pointed out to me the advantage of using Control Tab and putting things in tabs is that if you have several different folders open in the Finder, then when you're navigating, you don't always need to come across your desktop all the time, as you would if you were using Command Accent. It'll take you from, let's say, your desktop, and then if you press it again, to your documents, and then you press it again, maybe to your applications folder, whereas if you're using Control Tab, you could just go from your documents to applications folder without necessarily needing to bypass the desktop. So again, like I said at the beginning, some of this is not going to make any sense until you try it. And until you do get confused and lost. And then next time you try it, you'll get less confused and lost. So anyway, yeah, do we want things to open in tabs instead of windows?
Drop open folders and tabs instead of new windows. Checked. Checkbox.
And I have that option checked.
Open folders and
All
tabs
right, we are
instead of
done
new
with
windows. Check.
General. So now I'm going to VO home.
Toolbar.
Get back into the toolbar.
In toolbar.
VO right.
Tags button.
And we have this thing called tags. The
Out of
way
tool-
I've heard tags described, or kind of an analogy, is you might go put a tag if you're moving. You might put a tag on all of the boxes containing kitchen supplies. Or, well, I used to have my tags or my clothes tagged with a certain, when I would go away on trips, okay, this is to wear for Sunday or whatever. So tags basically provide another way of categorizing, labeling, organizing things on your Mac. I prefer using folders. That's my thing, but if I was working on a project that involved multiple folders, multiple different file types, maybe I'd want to put the same tag on them. Anyway, the point of all that is you can choose what tags are shown in the sidebar and also in the menu, either in the context menu or in the file menu. I believe you can actually assign tags to an individual file or folder. So
Show these tags in the sidebar.
here are tags we can show in the sidebar.
Show these tags in the sidebar. Table. iBUG tag. Image.
I did create an iBUG tag, and I may actually want to use that, or maybe I need to create one for my focus questions so that I can have every focus question file tagged, so I'm not having to look for them across folders spanning the different years I've taught this class. So whatever. Anyway, if I wanted to show this tag in the sidebar, I could check it.
Red tag, iBUG tag, image, unchecked checkbox.
or VO
Purple
space
tag,
rather.
image, unchecked
Okay.
checkbox.
Anyway, this thing is being a little bit difficult with the navigation. If you really want to check something, you'll need to interact and then VO space on it. So, anyway, you can do that.
Add
You can
radio
also
button, 1 of 2.
add a tag,
Remove radio button.
remove a tag,
Drag your favorite tags to the area below to make them available for quick use in Finder menus.
and then you can do something else with the Finder tags so they're available in menus, so in other places besides the sidebar. All right, that's tags for you. Not too important there.
Toolbar.
Let's go into the
Into
toolbar,
sidebar button.
and we have our sidebar. So VO space, VO shift
Out
up
of
arrow to
toolbar.
uninteract.
Show these items in the sidebar. Favorites.
So here are some things that we can show under the favorites category of the sidebar.
Recents checked checkbox.
I would probably uncheck that. I don't really see a need to show recents in my sidebar, but that's
Unchecked.
me.
AirDrop unchecked. Applications checked checkbox.
I don't really see a need to show applications there either. But again, I don't make heavy use of the sidebar.
Unchecked. Downloads checked check on my Mac checked checkbox.
Don't really use
Unchecked.
that. So again, you're just a matter of pressing VO space to check and uncheck things.
Movies unchecked. Music unchecked. Check.
Music, particularly if you copy lots of CDs and things in the music app or whatever, you may want to check this.
Checked.
So because the music app does make heavy use of the sidebar. And then, like I said, for saving anything, you might have to rely on the sidebar.
Pictures unchecked. Chanel checked check. iCloud. iCloud Drive. iCloud.
So iCloud is another category.
iCloud Drive checked. Desktop checked. Check. Documents checked. Locations. MacBook Pro checked. Checkbox. Hard disks checked. External disks. CDs. External disks checked. CDs, DVDs, and iOS devices checked. Checkbox.
And so here we see the CDs, DVDs, and iOS devices.
Cloud storage checked. Bonjour computers unchecked. Connected servers unchecked. Tags. Recent tags unchecked. Recent tags unchecked.
All right, and so
Checkbox.
that is the sidebar. Sorry, I'm just adjusting my headset there. Okay, now we can go to
in toolbar. 4 items. Sidebar button
last
selected.
thing,
Advanced button.
advanced, VO space,
Out of toolbar.
uninteract.
Show all file name extensions checked. Checkbox.
I like to know all my file name extensions. That's just me personally, so I like to hear it say test.doc.
Show warning before changing an extension checked. Checkbox. Show warning before removing from iCloud Drive unchecked. Checkbox.
I don't use iCloud Drive all that much, so I don't really need to have that checked.
Show warning before emptying the trash checked. Checkbox.
That's always a good idea.
Remove items from the trash after 30 days unchecked. Checkbox.
If you're concerned about your Mac, the available space on your hard drive, you may want to have things be removed from the trash after 30 days.
Keep folders on top.
Okay. Oh, the other important thing is keep folders on top. That has to do with how files and folders are sorted.
In Windows when sorting by name checked. Checkbox.
So basically, when you are in a window and you have a list of files and folders, do you want those folders or that to be arranged where all the folders are listed first in alphabetical order, followed by all the files in alphabetical order? Or do you want them to be kind of mixed up, but still in alphabetical order? I prefer to have all my folders on top and my files below. I have found it makes it a little bit easier to do the first letter navigation for me, but I don't know, you may have a different experience.
On desktop checked. Checkbox.
I suppose the setting doesn't really matter so much on the desktop, but I just have it checked anyway.
Search this Mac. When performing a search, pop-up button.
Okay, so in addition to Spotlight, you can also do a more extensive Mac search for specific files, specify criteria for those files and all that. And so by default, it can search this Mac or
Menu check mark. Search this Mac. Search the current folder.
search the current folder that you're in. So if you execute the search from your documents folder, then maybe you'd only want it to search that folder.
Use the previous search scope.
Or use the previous search scope.
Search the
So
current folder.
if I want
Search
to say
the current
choose
folder.
the current folder,
When perform, search the current folder.
and that is the last option we have. So I'm going to press Command W.
Close window. List. Chanel window.
And I'm going to close this Chanel
Close
window.
window. iBUG alias image.
Okay, and I'm
Actions
back on my
available.
desktop. Now, from here though, I want to give you a general idea of how things are, the structure basically of the folders in the Finder. And to do that, I am going to open the computer with Command-Shift-C, or basically, as I described earlier, the place where all the drives connected both internally and externally to your Mac are listed.
Computer, MacBook Pro, window, column view, browser.
Okay, and it said column view browser. So there are a couple of things. I like to say, because of Herbie, who took my class before, even when I taught list view, I am a column view convert. I find it quicker to navigate, to open folders, things like that. Before I used list view, and that was fine, and it's still great to use that. But you'll have to decide which view is best for you. There's just a couple of things. The commands you use for opening folders and subfolders and closing them and copy or pasting are different between the views. So in column view, we simply open a folder with the right arrow and move to the containing or previous folder with left arrow, or we close the folder with left arrow. And that's in column view. In list view, we open a folder with command down arrow and we return to the previous folder with command up arrow. In column view, you can so I could do command down arrow to open a drive. That actually does work, but it doesn't work if I want to do command down arrow, let's say on my users folder. And in list view, you can also use the right arrow and left arrow to expand or collapse folders. The problem with that though is if you're using first letter navigation, let's say you come back in to the Finder later on and you may forget which folders you've opened, and so you may end up where you don't want to be. So anyway, the point of all that is there is some overlap between list and column views. I use the columns. Another kind of interesting thing about column view is you're not given a lot of extra info about the files and folders. You could turn that off. But anyway, I am going to use column view. So we are on the computer.
Bootcamp, Macintosh HD,
Okay,
volume.
now we're on Macintosh HD. And we don't actually, if we pressed right arrow, that would put our focus on the first folder in there. If I do VOF2,
Macintosh HD, window, one window.
it tells us that it's Macintosh HD, even though we haven't actually revealed its contents yet, because that's what we're focused on. That is the title, the current window title. You can actually attempt to set a view globally for a drive. And the way you would do that is opening this here and then doing Command J. I'm going to do
Open
that.
selection.
Okay. And it says list, but I'm going to make sure it's set in column view by doing Command 3.
As columns checked.
And then I'm going to press Command J.
Show view options. Macintosh HD, window. Always open in column view. Checked. Checkbox. Always
Okay, and I have it checked.
open in column view.
If it's not checked, you could check that.
Browse in column view. Checked. Checkbox. None. Group by. Name. Sort by. Pop-up 12. Text. Show icons. Unchecked. Checkbox.
All right, I turn off the icons. That's not necessary.
Show icon preview. Dimmed unchecked. Show preview column. Unchecked. Check.
One thing though you definitely want to turn off is show preview column. That in the past has made my column view navigation more difficult when that is on, so you want to turn that off. If you're using list view, you're going to see things like checkboxes for the date modified, date open, date created, file size. Because this is in column view, we don't have those checkboxes. And then
Show
at the end, if you might have something called use as defaults. And so if you want to, because I'm not really changing anything here, I don't have that button, but If you did, you would just press VO space. Now, most of the time,
Close window. Macintosh
well,
8.
really, you don't, going into these view options is entirely, well, optional. The only thing I recommend is that you make sure the preview column is not checked. Okay, so let's now find the users folder. And to do that, I'll down arrow.
Applications. Library. System. Users. Folder.
And then I'll right arrow.
List 1 item selected. Chanel. Folder.
And there's my Chanel folder. And I'll right arrow again.
List 1 item selected. Applications. Folder.
Okay, and here I'm going to be looking for documents. If you don't have iCloud and iCloud Drive turned on, your documents folder will be directly under your users folder. If you do have iCloud Drive enabled though, your desktop and documents folders will be under there. So let's go down to my
Downloads. Dropbox.
iCloud Drive.
Folder.
Dropbox, that's the folder I work out of pretty much all the time.
iCloud Drive. Archive. Folder.
And so then if I right arrow,
List 1 item selected. Castro. Desktop. Folder. Documents. Folder.
so then we have documents. If I right arrow,
List 1 item selected. PerkyDuck autosaves. Folder.
these are all the things that are in my documents. Now, normally you won't be going from your main drive to your users folder to your documents. I'm just trying to show you how things are laid out. So if we do left arrow,
List 1 item selected. Documents. Folder.
then we're back on documents. And if we do VOF2,
Documents. Window. 1 window.
then it confirms that we are in the documents folder. If we left arrow again,
List 1 item selected. iCloud Drive. Archive. Folder.
and then we VOF2.
iCloud Drive. Archive. Window. 1 window.
So again, it's showing us all
List
these
1 item
different
selected.
things.
Chanel. Chanel. Window. 1 window.
And just left arrow. Notice I did not interact. You do not need to interact here, whether it's list view or column view. It might have said something like,
Yes.
Scroll view area, when we were going from the sidebar to that vertical splitter, whatever, and then into this area, we didn't need to interact to actually look at the files here.
List 1 item selected. Users. Folder.
And I'm back at users, so we can just keep going back. Okay. But now I want to talk about the process of copying, pasting, all that good, selecting, all that good stuff. So I am going to go ahead and open a new Finder window with
Library.
Command N.
New Finder window. Dropbox. Window. Column
And
view.
we're in
Browser.
Dropbox. And for the process of copying and pasting and things, I want to find a list of sequentially numbered files that happens to be in my iBUG folder. And back when I tried to keep up with our Trekkie talk, which I also forgot to mention is this week, on Thursday at 8 o'clock. And they'll be going over, I don't remember, but if you want details on that, just email Herbie or me. So anyway, we can go into my Chanel folder, and I will use first letter navigation, so I'll type CH.
Chanel. Folder.
Right arrow.
List 1 item select.
IB.
Folder.
Right arrow.
Announcements. Group. Star Trek.
ST.
Folder.
Right
Next
arrow.
generation. Group.
Right arrow on next generation.
100 to encounter at farpoint.txt. Group.
And then, okay, we have a list of files. Now, I actually forgot what I'd wanted to do. I want us to create a folder in the iCloud Drive. And so that way we can practice copying and pasting files. So anyway, if I Control Tab.
Show next tab. Tab library. Column view. Browser 1 item selected. Library. Group.
Okay, we happen to be on the library folder, which isn't that helpful. Let me make it so we're on the iCloud Drive folder. And how can I do that? I can just do Command-Shift-I.
iCloud Drive. List.
So now if we Control Tab.
Show next tab. Tab next generation. Up to date.
And
image.
if we Control Tab
Show
again.
next tab. Tab iCloud Drive. Column view. Browser.
Okay, well, what if I wanted to open another Finder window, but I want my applications to get to my applications folder? So what would I do? Because I want these things to open in tabs, I would do Command T. Well, actually, I think that even if you do Command N, because we said we prefer these things to open in tabs, it will do that. But Command N or Command T.
New tab. Dropbox window. Column
And
view.
again, it opens Dropbox, but we don't have to stay there. I can just do Command Shift A,
Applications. List
and
one
that
item
turns
selected.
into an applications folder.
Applications.
So
Folder.
then if we do VOF2 F2,
Application. Window chooser menu 2 items. Applications current. Go to desktop. Go to desktop.
oh, wait a
Column
minute.
view.
That's not going to help us with, okay,
Browser one.
that's to list the windows. So anyway, we have 3 tabs open. So if I Control
Show
Tab,
next tab. Tab iCloud Drive.
and
Column
if
view.
we
Browser.
Control Tab again,
Show next tab. Tab next generation. Column view.
and if
Browser
we
one item
Control Tab
selected. Show
again,
next tab. Tab applications. Column view. Browser.
well, and so the point is that if I wanted to change any one of these things, let's say I wanted to make the next generation tab become, I want it to be the downloads folder, I can just press Command Option L, or you could use that sidebar. So anyway, why would you want to have multiple tabs or windows open? Well, maybe you're copying from one folder and you don't want to have to close that folder just to go back and open another folder to copy, or to paste into. Or maybe you'll be copying from several different locations into one folder. Whatever the case is, if I do VOF2,
Applications. Window.
I
3
forgot that I
windows.
was in, okay, this thing. So I'm going to close the applications because we don't really need it. So Command W closes a window. If you want to close all open windows, you can do Command Option W. But Command W closes a window.
Close tab. Tab next generation.
Or a
Column
tab,
view. Browser
whatever the
one
case
item
may be.
selected.
Okay.
100 to encounter at far
So
point.
let's do
Text
Control
group. Show
Tab.
next tab. Tab iCloud Drive. Column view. Browser.
And notice it says Column View Browser. There's nothing selected here. We are still in the iCloud Drive. I'm going to press Command Shift N, and we're going to create a folder called Finder Practice. So to do that, Command Shift N.
New Untitled folder. Contents selected. Edit text.
And I'll type in here Finder
Selection replaced. Finder.
Practice.
Pra.
Finder
Practice.
Practice. Okay, so then I'll press Enter.
Finder Practice. Window. Column view. Browser one item selected. Finder
Okay.
Practice. Group.
So here in the iCloud Drive then,
Export. Editing audio tutorial. Drafts. Downloads.
we have all these other folders. If I left arrow,
Documents. Folder.
oh,
Desktop.
I see. We can't left arrow because we opened the iCloud Drive directly by using the shortcut, but that's okay. I would just wanted to kind of show you the orderly progression from the previous thing, to your iCloud Drive, but that's okay. So in here we do have Finder Practice, which I can get to with the letter F.
Finder Practice. Folder.
Okay, let's go back to this next generation folder.
Show next tab. Tab next generation. Column view. Browser one item selected. 100 to encounter at far point. Text group.
Okay, and now we're going to talk about selecting multiple files. You can either select files that are in a row or called contiguous or not in a row. If you're selecting contiguous files, then all you need to do is press Shift down arrow on the first one you want to select. So I'll do that.
103 the naked now. Text added to selection 2 items selected.
So what it actually did was it selected the file where the cursor had focus plus the next one down in the list. If I shift down arrow again,
104 105
again.
Haven. Text added to selection 4 items selected.
it tells us we have 4 items selected. Okay, well, what if we forgot or we just wanted to confirm? VOF6 will tell us what is selected. And if you do not have the use F1, F2, etc. keys as standard function keys checked, you'll need to press VOFN F6 or VOFN6. As Judy said, it's just much simpler to be able to say, okay, VOF6. So let's do that now.
4 items selected, 100 to encounter at far point. Text group 103 The Naked Now.txt group, 104 Code of Honor.txt group, 105 Haven.txt group.
All right, and at this point, we could do Command C, which I will, or we could also bring up the context menu. And I mentioned the context menu, probably in our second week of class, and how that is like the right-click menu, and that is a menu for items that pertain to whatever is in focus. So the context menu is more specific. The menu bar is more general. So let's do VO Shift M to bring up the context menu
Menu.
and down arrow.
New folder with selection, 4 items.
So we could actually create a new folder and it would have these 4 items in it.
Open. Open with submenu. Move to trash. Get info. Rename 4 items. Compress 4 items.
If you want to create a zip file, here's how you would do that. You would select the files you want and then go to compress, and that's how you create a zip file on the Mac.
Duplicate. Make alias.
Okay, make alias. An alias is another name for a shortcut. You may have heard on my desktop I had like an iBUG alias, a Mac Training alias. Those are basically, they're not the actual folders on the desktop. Those are shortcuts to those folders.
Quick look 4 items. Copy 4 items. Share submenu. Tags. Interactive.
And so here we could actually apply some of those tags that notice it says interactive, so we'd have to interact and then VO right to select a tag and then VO space.
Quick actions submenu. Send with transfer ellipsis. Smart sync submenu.
And then I can do some things with Dropbox, such as Smart Syncs.
Create service. Create workflow. Send file to Bluetooth device. New folder with selection, 4 items.
There we go, and we're back. So that's an example of what you can do. And in Safari, we will use the context menu to download a linked file. So there's lots of extra things you can do with a context menu. I'm going to press Escape.
Column view, browser 4
and
items
press
selected.
Command C
100 to encounter it. Copy
these.
100 to
We
encounter.
could have just gone to copy in the menu, but that's okay. Now I'm going to Control Tab.
Show next tab. Tab Finder Practice. Column view, browser 1 item selected. Finder Practice group.
And notice it says Finder Practice. In List View, we would actually need to open the Finder Practice with Command down arrow. Here, it's enough that we have focus on it. So if I do Command V.
Paste item.
Now if we right arrow.
List 1 item selected. 100 to encounter at farpoint.txt.
So we actually see the things that we pasted. So there you go. If I want, now we'll talk about selecting non-contiguous files. If I want to undo what I've pasted, I can do Command Z.
Removed from selection 0 items selected.
All right, and then I can go back to my other tab that's open here and do Command Tab.
Show next tab. Tab next generation. 100 to encounter it.
Okay, and to do
Plain text.
what's called multiple selection, that's how it's
Star
listed
Trek
in the Voiceover
group.
commands help menu, you actually need to enter the mode and you have to interact first. So this is the second instance where you interact in the Finder. The first was to move around in the sidebar, and the second is to do multiple selection. Now my finger slips. I'm trying to, I need to just get back to where I
Facilitating
was
Star
at.
Trek folder.
All right, so I will right arrow.
Next
to open
generation
that,
group.
and right arrow again.
100 to encounter at farpoint.txt group.
And I'm going to interact with VO Shift down
No
arrow.
visible title to interact.
Oh, really?
100 to encounter.
Okay, maybe I am interacted far enough.
Plain text.
Interesting. Okay, this is being a little iffy. So now I'm going to
100 to encounter at quick nav on. Quick
okay,
nav
let
on.
me
100
see
100
something
to
here.
encounter at farpoint.txt. Next Hadley folder iBUG folder.
All right.
Announcements group Star Trek. Next generation group 100 to encounter it. No visible title to interact.
All right. Well, we're just going to, when it wants to be difficult like that, we are just going to close all these windows out.
Close other tabs. Close all. iBUG alias image.
And I don't know why I had to do Command Option W twice, but I guess the first one is close other tabs. This one is close all. So you know what? This time, let's go to the iBUG. I'm not going to go into my Dropbox and then find iBUG. Let's actually go directly to iBUG, and we can do that because I have an alias on my desktop. So I'm going to type
iBUG
IB,
alias image.
and then I do actually need to type Command down arrow here. Because I'm actually on a desktop with icons, the right arrow is not going to work. So I need to do Command down arrow.
Open selection. iBUG window. Column
And then-
view. Browser one item selected. iBUG group.
And then what happens is if you open something this way, notice it's saying one item selected iBUG. So I still have to right arrow.
List one item selected. Announcements. Folder.
And there I'm
Announcements
actually
group.
at the things that are contained in iBUG. So I'm going to do ST
Star Trek. Folder.
and then right arrow,
Next generation group.
right arrow here.
100 to encounter at farpoint.txt group.
And now I'm going to VO shift down arrow.
No visible title to interact.
Okay, this is being very weird. Let's turn voiceover off
Voiceover off.
and back on.
Voiceover on Finder. Next generation window. 100 to encounter it.
Interact.
In.
There we
100 to
go.
100 to out of 103 the naked nav.
Okay, so I think it was interacted too far. So
Plain
maybe
text document.
I'm not quite sure what happened, but ideally what you're supposed to do, find the folder where you want to be to start the selection, and then interact. And then what we'll do is we'll find the first file we actually want to select.
104
Let's say we pick on 104.
plain
And
text.
then the command to toggle multiple selection is VO command enter. So VO command, I'm holding down with my left hand and then pressing enter with my right hand.
104 code of honor.txt. Plain text document added to selection one item selected.
And I will lift up on the command key and use my VO down arrow to find some other files. I've lifted up on enter as well, but VO down arrow.
105 106
Let's say I
where none
want to
have gone
select
before dot
106.
text. Plain text document.
So I'll do VO command enter again.
106 where none have gone before dot text.
And let's say I want to select
Selected
110.
plain text 100 108 109 110 the battle dot text.
Because I'm just
plain
being
text document.
whimsical or whatever. So I can do VO command enter.
110 the battle dot text.
And we can just,
selected 111
keep
111 hide and
skipping
q
at
dot
will.
text. Selected
And so we can verify what's selected again with VO F6.
4 items selected.
All right, now if I want to copy these things, I do Command C.
Copy 4 items.
And I want to actually paste these into a new Finder window. Or not a new Finder window. I want to paste these into a new folder. So how are we going to get to that Finder practice folder? We're going to do Command N.
New Finder window. Dropbox window. Column view. Browser.
And we're going to do Command Shift I for iCloud Drive.
iCloud Drive. List.
And we're going to do F
Finder practice.
for
Folder.
Finder Practice. Now, because this is in column view, I don't actually want to right arrow. I want to just do Command V, or if I want to move something here, which is kind of the equivalent of cut, but if I want to move it here, I do Command Option V. We don't have a cut in the Finder. We just have the Command V to paste or Command Option V to move.
Move 4 items here.
And there we go. We have moved those 4 items. So that is an overview, and I'm sure I will, if you come to office hours or whatever next week, we can review more of just maybe finding other things to copy and paste, or I can demonstrate the list view. Let's see, right now it is
2003.
8:03, so let's move to
Zoom us.
questions.
Zoom us.
And
System dialog.
I don't
You
know,
are share-
Herbie, if you are unmuting people,
You are sharing.
but anybody, if you want to ask a question, just say your name, and I will do the best I can to answer. All right, I'm going to stop my share. And let me. There we go. Now you should be able to unmute.
All righty.
Yep.
I ran into your wrestling match with that interacting yesterday. And what I discovered is when Voiceover has claimed that the item that you're looking at is selected, that's when you run into that problem.
Right.
But when you turn Voiceover off and back on, it was no longer considered selected. And that's what allowed you to now, at that point, interact. In the list view, when you first open it, when you do the command down arrow, it puts you above the list. And so you can interact immediately.
Very true. Oh, yeah. All right. That makes sense. Yes, there are some quirks with column view, and so that is one of them. Thank you.
Well, that came from your reading you told us to.
Oh, yeah. All right.
This is Cliff.
Yes, Cliff.
I was trying to figure out where were you at when you were saying that you wanted your folders to always be on top. I couldn't figure out where you I had stepped away and
That
came
was
back. So.
in the advanced part of the Finder preferences.
Okay, I was on the right spot. I just didn't go to the right tab. Okay.
Yep.
All right. And is it true in column view? Because as you know, I don't use it. But is it true if you're copy and pasting in column view, you actually don't have to open up the folder to paste something into it?
That is correct. That's what I was trying to focus on. You only have to be focused on that folder. Otherwise, if you have like several subfolders within a folder and you're trying to paste into that folder directly and you're focused on, let's say, a subfolder, it'll get
Then it's
pasted into that subfolder.
So it could get lost if you don't know what folder it went
Yeah,
into. Yeah,
exactly. And so I've had to stop myself several times. And so that really threw me off from using column view for a while. I was like, but I just found it so much faster to press right arrow to open the folder, it was just more, the Mac was just more responsive navigating in column view than it
Yeah.
was for me responsive in list view.
I've used list view for so long, it's personal preference, because I mean, I'm just so lightning fast with it, but I've been using the Mac for 10 years, dude. So.
I know, and I was using list view for 4-5 years too, and I decided to, humor Herbie and give the column view a try, and I liked it. So.
Okay, this is Doc again.
Yes.
And when we were in the Finder preferences, that tags tab, I looked at that, and the part in there, because I ran into the same thing on the iPad and in the iPhone and different places. What is up with those colors?
I don't know. It's, you can delete those though. That's what I was trying, that's their default tags created by Apple. I think they're really annoying, but you can delete them. Okay.
Elvia?
Yes, Elvia.
When you were doing right arrow and left arrow and all that, were you doing with the VO? Because I just kept
Nope,
saying,
just
we're
the
going
arrow
right
by
arrow.
itself. Yep.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Okay, this is Ibira.
Yes, Ibira.
Okay, so please, how can I enable iCloud Drive on my user folder?
Okay, so you want to go into System Preferences. I'm assuming you can do it in a couple of different ways. Actually, would anybody else who's done that before like to tell Ibira so that you kind of can emphasize it? Has anybody else done that, first of all? I know Cliff and Herbie and probably Doc have, but has anybody else enabled iCloud Drive?
Elvia, no.
Okay, I guess not. All right. So what you will want to do is go to System Preferences, and you'll want to go to your Apple ID. Maybe I should just share my audio. See, I did give you some info on Apple, this article. I think I put it under, it's called iCloud Explain, but let me just share my audio.
You have started share.
All right, so I'm going to go to my System Preferences, VOD,
Make
SY,
System Preferences, 7 of 25.
And I know I could, all right, I'll just use the VO Shift M
Menu.
to make things simpler. A
Apple
key,
ID.
enter,
Zoom us. System dialog. System preferences. Apple ID. Window. Toolbar.
and I'll VO right.
Apple ID. Image. Edit. Chanel M. Table. iCloud.
And the first thing we
Selected.
have here is iCloud, so I don't even need to go into that. I'll VO right.
Apps on this Mac using iCloud. iCloud services. Table.
Look at iCloud services, and
iCloud Drive. Checkbox.
iCloud
Options.
Drive
Button.
is the first option. If you want to explore the options under iCloud Drive, you would VO Shift
In
down
iCloud
arrow,
services. Table.
and then VO right.
Photos. iCloud. In.
I'll
iCloud
interact
Drive.
with iCloud Drive
Checkbox.
first,
Options.
and then VO right.
Options button.
And
In dialog, documents selected, look me up by email tab. 2 apps that store documents and data in iCloud will appear here. Applications table. Desktop and documents folders. Check.
and that's where you do. So basically, though, if you go into Apple ID and then you go into iCloud, which is that first thing in the table, and then iCloud services, and if you make sure that that iCloud Drive is checked, you'll be good to go.
Okay. All right.
So
Thank
hopefully
you.
that helps. Yep.
Zoom us.
Yeah.
Zoom.
Okay.
This is Cliff.
Uh-huh.
I take it a step further. I even when I download something,
Mhm.
I have a downloads folder that's on your
Yeah.
iCloud by default anyway because of your phone and your iPad. But I point my downloads from my Mac to go directly there too. So I really don't use my Mac storage for anything.
No. Well, I have a setup files folder in Dropbox, which I kind of use. But yeah, I've done that before too. And so yes, you can have your downloads go directly into iCloud, and that way they don't get lost or deleted or whatever.
So this is Herbie.
Yes, Herbie.
I only want to mention this because I know there are some people that do use Windows on here, and one advantage with Dropbox over iCloud Drive is I have had some issues in the past in getting iCloud Drive to play nice on the Windows side sometimes. So that's one thing to keep in mind with Dropbox. It's not once you get iCloud Drive working, it works, but sometimes I do find Dropbox the easiest to access across multiple systems. So I just wanted to mention that.
Okay, and I'll put you on the spot. What is it that you like about column view? And ironically, the reading assignment actually mentions that if you're coming from Windows and you prefer that, stick with list view. So what is it that you like about column view?
So there's two things I like about column view. First of all, it opens up much faster the folder. I don't have to hit the little doink sound and then wait a few seconds. And I have a fast Mac too, like 16 gigs RAM. But list view, you have to do that Command O, whereas right arrow
Or
is just
Command down
right
arrow.
there, or Command down arrow. But with right arrow and column view, you just right arrow and the folder's right there. And what's also nice is like sometimes I'm transferring stuff from one folder to a folder, and it's very easy. It's a little different, but you just have to remember. Like for instance, if I'm transferring stuff to the M folder, just remember my cursor is pointed to M, and go paste in there. And then if I want to go to my T folder, I just hit the letter T, and voila, I'm right there instead of having to go back. So I don't have to do as much back and forth sometimes with copy and paste as I would in list view or, the way things work on Windows, just with the way my folder structures are. So I find I do less. I can sometimes just be pointed to the root folder and then just go down. So I find it makes me a faster worker once I get used to how column view works. So that's why I like it.
This is
All
Shri.
right. Yeah, Shri, go ahead.
I just had a question about performance between the Dropbox and the iCloud. Do you notice any performance difference between the two?
I find that things are more instantaneous than just in syncing in Dropbox. I don't know. That could be me. Does anybody else?
Yeah, I think for me too. I have a Windows. I work more from my Windows, and I'm trying to move into the Mac. So I've been using the iCloud Drive, and I found out that my documents don't get to sync fast on my Windows PC because I enabled it on my Windows PC. So I downloaded the Dropbox and I found out it was faster in syncing.
Even on the Mac, today I was trying to practice for this and I created something in the documents in iCloud Drive and it didn't show up. Like it would show up if I did Command Shift O, but not if I navigated from my user folder to iCloud Drive to documents. It was kind of the weirdest thing. And you'll have little inconsistencies like that in iCloud. And I think, Herbie, were you trying to say something?
Yeah, so where I have had problems with Dropbox in the past on a slower computer, at least, is it sometimes tries to be constantly playing catch up when if you're like renaming a file, and so like I would used to have to pause syncing. On the Mac, I will admit I don't notice the difference other than I do think things show up. Like I said, I know they actually show up on Dropbox. That's what I was talking about with things playing nice across multiple devices. But the other advantage with Dropbox is you can go to your menu extras and see the status. So maybe you won't need to worry about this with like a document, but let's say you're uploading a video file, you can see the status with Dropbox in your menu extras the way you can on your system tray on the Windows side, whereas I don't know how to do that with iCloud Drive on any system.
Well, it will say things like downloading or up to date. It will say, but it's not directly there in the menu
Right.
bar.
But
Like
Dropbox will say like uploading 1 minute left or
right. Yeah, iCloud, you don't get that info.
no.
This is
and-
Cliff.
Yep.
Okay, yeah, Cliff?
You technically, because iCloud Drive could be so universal to some people, I guess. I can't speak for the PC side because I haven't used one in over 5 years, even though I'm going to have to use one here in about a month or so because I got a job working from home anyway. But with iCloud, if you go to the folder or the file that you want and just VO right arrow, there's, where you would find your extension. It'll tell you how much time is left and how much of it is uploading or downloading for whichever way it's going. So like, for instance, a class that I'm helping teach, I got the audio from it in iCloud and I dropped it into her and I got done editing and I put it in iCloud and then I went back to my audio hijack folder and it told me how much time and how much megabytes was left. So
All right.
That's
Yeah,
good.
it does. And I've noticed that too. It will tell you on certain things. But yeah, you do have to be kind of focused on it to know. So, all right.
Okay, sorry, I have one question, Ibere.
Sure.
So for opening up documents on both views, is it still Command O?
Yes, or command down arrow. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, technically, either one will work. And you never want to press enter on something to open it. That's what I was in the Finder. That's another thing I was going to try to demo because that will actually make it so you can rename the file or folder. So in a menu bar or in a dialog, enter, will sometimes work, but in the Finder, you actually, if you press enter on something, you'll be brought up with an edit box where you can rename it. So
Yeah,
anyway.
equivalent to F2.
What?
It's equivalent to F2.
It is, yes.
Mr. Cliff, since you've done this before with iCloud, and if you have something in iCloud like the ringtones, because when I open up my iCloud, it's that folder that you sent me is sitting right there. The creating a link to share that, how easy or
you VO shift them, go down to share. And one of the options is share folder and after you share it, how you choose if you're just going to be read only or editable, the very last option will be copy link to Clipboard.
And that is something this is Herbie.
Yeah. Was somebody else trying to speak as well, or?
This is true, but I'll wait till Herbie's done.
Okay, Herbie.
I was just going to mention, though, that if people are interested, I could do a quick demo of that this Thursday on the Mac Club. And maybe tomorrow night in the iBUG.
Yeah, iBUG Club.
iBUG Club, too. Sometimes we get more questions on there. So it just depends on how things work timing wise, but I could do a brief demo on how to share an iCloud folder and how to share a Dropbox folder. Personally, I think sharing a Dropbox folder is a little bit easier on the Mac than sharing an iCloud folder, but I'll let you all come to your own conclusions.
Yeah, do a demo comparing both. Okay. Shri.
I don't know. I mean, I was just going to ask, once you hit the share, do you have to give an Apple ID for the iCloud, or how does the trust get established?
I think so. Cliff.
No, it doesn't have. It does not have to be an Apple ID, because even if you share with, like my mom still has an AOL address. If I send it to her, it'll just send her to iCloud.com, and she can just download the content. So it doesn't have to be an Apple ID. No. Now, if they want to if you want them to be able to, if you want to share a folder, like if me and Herbie shared a folder, I don't know, I would want to share anything with him, but no. But if I was sharing a folder with him, then that would have to be an Apple ID if we were going to share files back and forth in that same folder. But if you just want to give somebody something to download, then no, they don't have to have an Apple ID just to share a folder. But
And this is Herbie.
Yeah, go ahead, Herbie.
That's no different than any other cloud sharing service where you have to have an address with that cloud sharing service, whether it be iCloud, Dropbox, Google Drive.
Right. Well, Dropbox, you don't have to have the same Apple ID. And
well, I'm talking about if you want to be able to collaborate on the folder, they have to have a Dropbox
account.
Yes,
account,
they do.
Or
yes.
a Google Drive account.
Yes.
And that's no different than an iCloud.
Right. Yeah.
That's all I was trying to say.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I got it. That makes sense.
Since we're talking about this Dropbox thing, one thing we might keep in mind too is that the one thing Dropbox has done some things with their webpage to make it more of a head scratcher and a pain in the neck. The thing I found that works, I haven't played with it as much on the Mac side, but in iOS, it's awesome compared to and much faster to work with where Dropbox is concerned.
This is Shri.
Yeah, Shri, and we are over time, and this is about the Finder, but yeah, go ahead.
Just one final question. Now, is the Dropbox and iCloud basically the same price, or is it one more efficient? One more.
This is Herbie.
Yeah, go ahead, Herbie.
So real quick, if the difference between Dropbox is Dropbox, you have the free account for 2 gigabytes, and then you can pay monthly or yearly for 2 terabytes, and then they have the business plans that can go up even higher. iCloud Drive, if you can see this access this very easily on your iPhone actually, but they have a different range of storage options that go from the free 5 gigabytes to the $99 a year 2 terabytes. So they just have some different pricing structures. But iCloud will give you some intermediate options, whereas Dropbox will not.
All right. So, well, everyone,
and one other thing to keep in mind, though, if you're thinking about iCloud storage, keep in mind that if you have an iPhone and a Mac, it uses that same iCloud Drive space. So keep that in mind when thinking about storage for iCloud Drive. And you can do some camera backups and whatnot with Dropbox on your phone, but keep that in mind, is that you want to make sure you have enough space for whatever devices you are running in the cloud. So that's something to keep in mind with iCloud Drive.
All right.
Can I ask one question about the Finder?
Sure.
So, Chanel, you said that you don't really use the sidebar a lot in the Finder. Is that correct? So
that
are
is
you
correct.
just using the keyboard?
Yep.
Are you just using keyboard shortcuts to access it?
Yep. I mean, how about you, Herbie? Do you really use the sidebar in the Finder?
No, I have used it sometimes if I've gotten out of focus in the saving, but...
Right, but that's for saving, which I definitely use it then.
Otherwise, the only time I really have had to use the sidebar is for the iPhone.
Yep.
So I must be doing the long way around then, because I use the sidebar all the time.
Yeah.
And a lot of people do. It's a more visual thing, and there's nothing wrong with it. But I just have my commands, I know I have my new Finder windows set to open in Dropbox, which is what I use most often. I also know um, if I'm in some other folder and I need to get back to Dropbox, the quickest way might be Command Shift H and then DR. So for me, it's a lot of um, I know my apps folder is Command Shift A. I go there a lot. So it's easy for me to memorize the keyboard shortcuts because I've been doing this type of keyboarding all my life. But if I hadn't, then the sidebar might be really useful because, yeah, I could just find the things that I need. So there's no right or wrong answer. It's just whatever's going to work, whatever's going to help you get around your Finder most efficiently. And that might be totally different for you than it is for me.
No, the keyboard is much more efficient.
Well, yeah, but I have to be just like I don't do any whatever operating system bashing on here, but I try not to. Anyway, yeah, what I say, whatever works, helps you, you have to like it, you have to be happy with it at the end. So I'm just teaching you a method, and people can adapt it or do whatever with it that they want. So anyway, thanks everyone. Thanks for staying over, and I will see you next week at the same place, same time.
I got something for you when you close the recording, Chanel.
Okie dokie. Well, I was
Thank
just
you.
gonna end and whatever, but
Good night, guys.
bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.